Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a few winter storms that are going to be moving through parts of the Midwest, parts of the Central Plains, and also parts of the Rockies and Great Lakes. We're going to be going over 4 different snowfall maps that I hand-drawn, and we're going to be going over how much snowfall you guys could be seeing with all of these systems. We're going to be dealing with a lot of snowfall, and we're going to be timing out all 4 of those snowstorms that are going to be even impacting areas in the Southern Plains, even parts of the Mississippi River Valley and into the lower Great Lakes. So we have a lot to cover in today's video, so let's get right into it, and let's start off with your current National Weather Service page. Winter weather advisories are up for parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, much of Minnesota, as well as Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. We even have some winter storm warnings in effect for parts of southern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin, I guess you could say. And I believe this is actually our first winter storm warnings for the season for the continental United States. We also see some more winter weather advisories for parts of northern Montana, as well as some winter storm watches in effect for southern Montana. We have air quality alerts in effect for parts of Colorado and California, as well as some high wind warnings in effect for parts of Wyoming, and some wind advisories for parts of Idaho. Freeze watches are currently in effect for parts of Oregon and California, as well as some red flag warnings for portions of northern California. So there is definitely quite a lot going on in the northern and western United States in terms of watches and warnings. Let's start timing this out with the European model, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at all of these storms using the European model's precipitation type forecast, and then we're going to show you my personal forecast for all of these storms in terms of how much snowfall I think will fall through all of these individual snowstorms. So let's start out. This would be by today. I would say this actually be a couple hours before, or I'm recording this video right now, so would already be seeing some snowfall moving through parts of Montana and North Dakota. But then as we move this forward, you start to see that snowfall really progresses to the east. Here would be by practically right now, and as of when I'm recording this video, and we're looking at that snowfall really moving through parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, and the bulk of that precipitation in terms of snowfall is going to be right through this corridor from northeastern South Dakota to western Wisconsin, and then also just going through southern Minnesota. This red line is indicating where you're below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So you see many of these areas that are seeing snowfall are actually above 32 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 33, 34 degrees. So it will be a slushy, wet snowfall for many, unless if you're in, I would say, central Minnesota, eastern South Dakota, and northern North Dakota, you probably would see maybe actually some accumulation even on those roadways. Here would be by the 21st of October, so this would be Wednesday. So tomorrow we're looking at some of that snowfall early on Wednesday. We're looking at some heavy snowfall for portions of Wisconsin and Minnesota. Much of this would be sticking because it would be overnight by this point. Here would be by probably, I would say, in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, and we're looking at some slushy mix over parts of Wisconsin and Michigan, as well as a lot of snowfall going on for parts of Minnesota and North Dakota. Right along the Great Lakes, you'll probably see a mix of snow and rain, but then as you get just inland, you'll most likely see a little bit more in the way of snowfall. Here's a view of the Great Lakes for this storm, and we're looking at this would be probably as you're waking up on Wednesday, and we're looking at some of that snowfall just temporarily moving through parts of Wisconsin and Michigan, as well as parts of northern Minnesota, but for much of the area, it's moved over to rainfall. Here is my personal forecast in terms of the snowfall for this particular storm. This is going from today all the way until tomorrow. Under an inch of snowfall for portions of portions of northeastern Montana, as well as much of the Dakotas, pretty much all of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan. 1 to 3 inches over parts of the eastern Dakotas, much of Minnesota still, and as well for northwestern Wisconsin and the western UP of Michigan, you're still looking at 1 to 3 inches. 3 to 6 inches over a wide area of eastern North Dakota, as well as northeasternmost South Dakota, central Minnesota, and northwestern Wisconsin. I think maybe a big band of 6 inches plus might set up right around here, and you can see that here. This is my 6 to 12 inch area, and over central Minnesota and also northwesternmost Wisconsin, I'm looking at 6 to 12 inches, probably on the lower end of that, 6, 7, 8 inches of snowfall. But still, that's quite a lot for early, I would say mid to late October. So it's still a lot, and that's some quite good snowfall for this early on in the season. Let's start talking about your next snowstorm, and we're going to be looking at this snowstorm coming out again out of Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, that area, and out of southwestern Canada, and that's going to be moving to the south and to the east, and that's going to be the general storm track that we look at with many of these storms. We're seeing some preliminary snowfall moving through parts of the Dakotas and Montana. This would be by Wednesday afternoon, so tomorrow afternoon, we're looking at some snowfall. So right back to back, you're seeing these snowstorms. They're going to be back to back to back to back. So you're really not going to get too much of a break. Here would be by Wednesday evening. So probably I would say right around 7 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday evening, and we're looking at that snowfall lingering for parts of the Dakotas. But your real snow starts for the Dakotas probably right around 1 a.m. Thursday morning, and then this is a glitch in the model run. It turned all the precipitation over to rain, but of course that's not going to be the case. Much of that will still be snow. Here to be by Thursday, I would say right around 1 p.m. Central Time, and we're looking at some very heavy snowfall scattered from parts of Wyoming and Montana through the Dakotas and into parts of northern Minnesota, and we see a small area of slush and icy precipitation, so that could definitely cause some troubles on the roadways. Here would be by Thursday about 7 p.m. Central Time in the evening, and we're looking at that snowfall still setting up from southwest to northeast, and it's kind of tilted from parts of Wyoming to northern Minnesota, and we're seeing in that warm sector of this storm to the south and to the east of this storm, we're looking at some quite heavy rainfall again to parts of the north and to the west. We're looking at some quite heavy snowfall with this system, and then here would be by Friday 1 in the morning. Here would be by Friday 7 in the morning, and then it's starting to move out as we get later on Friday. Now, here would be the mountain snow area, and that would be further out to the west in Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and even through parts of Oregon and Washington. And again, this is going from the 21st to the 23rd now. We're talking about our next system. I'm forecasting under an inch of snowfall to be present for parts of the northern plains and going through parts of the upper Great Lakes. 1 to 3 inches for portions of Montana, the Dakotas, northern Minnesota, as well as parts of the upper peninsula of Michigan and even a little bit of northern Wisconsin there. 3 to 6 inches of snowfall setting up for parts of the Dakotas and into northern Minnesota. 6 to 12 inches even setting up over parts of southern and eastern North Dakota and then through northern Minnesota. So this is the first time I've had to use 6 to 12 inches. So this is the first video this year I'm using 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. So this is definitely kind of interesting to see how quickly we've really gotten into a winter pattern, especially over parts of the northern plains. Now let's start talking about our next system, and again, this is probably our second or third system by this point that's moving through, and this is going to be a two-part system. We're going to be going over the first part now, and then after this we'll talk about the second part. It's a little bit confusing with this next storm. So this would be by Saturday 7 in the morning on Saturday, and we're looking at some pretty good snowfall moving through parts of the Rockies and parts of the northern plains. Notice where your 32-degree line is. It's all the way down in parts of Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin. So you're not going to have any issue with mixing all through the northern plains. So that's definitely not going to be an issue here. Here would be by Saturday, right around 1 p.m. And we're looking at, this would be Central Time, of course, and we're looking at over parts of the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming. We're looking at some heavy snowfall by that point. And then as we move to 7 p.m. on Saturday, the 25th of October, that snowfall progresses a little bit further to the east. This is going to be a primarily all snowfall system for the most part. Then as we get to Sunday, 1 a.m. in the morning, and this would be still the October 25th by this point, Sunday, and we're looking at heavy snowfall moving through parts of Colorado, Nebraska, even in a little bit of Wyoming there. And then we're just seeing snow flurries for much of the area surrounding there. So this is going to be a very, very widespread system. Here would be by Sunday 7 in the morning, and we're looking at that rain snow line now starting to set up as you get that 32-degree line to move through the system. We have that heavy snow to the north and to the west of the system, that slush and that mix, as well as the rain to the south and to the east of the system. And then as we move this forward, this system is going to be impacting areas a lot further to the south. Here to be by Sunday 1 in the afternoon, and we're looking at some very heavy snowfall over parts of Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota, and even going through parts of Wisconsin. Now, as we move to the Great Lakes view of this, we even see some mixing over parts of Michigan, the UP of Michigan, as well as parts of Wisconsin, where you see that snow mix line setting up. Here would be by Monday, 1 in the morning Central Time, October 26th, and we're seeing that snow move a little bit further to the east, and it will most likely be able to accumulate behind this front because it is, of course, nighttime. You don't have to deal with the sun angle and all of that with this accumulating snow. And then as we get to Monday 1 p.m., it's really just some general lake effect snowfall in the vicinity. Now here would be my forecast for this storm. This is going from the 24th to the 26th. Mountain snow for portions of the northern Rockies from Utah and Colorado north and west to parts of Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and even parts of Oregon and Washington. Under an inch of snowfall for portions of the northern plains, except for northern Minnesota and northern North Dakota. I don't think you guys will see too much in the way of snowfall. 1 to 3 inches of snowfall for parts of Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Iowa, southern Minnesota, and as well parts of central Wisconsin, where I think you'll see a little tiny band of fairly heavy snowfall setup. Here would be your 3 to 6 inch area, and that would be for parts of Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, and even a little bit of Iowa, where I think closer to the Rockies, you could be seeing quite a bit in the way of snowfall. 6 to 12 inches of snowfall in that pink region for parts of Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, and Nebraska. And maybe even I could have put a little 12 to 18 inch region, but I think generally it'll be 6 to 12 inches. Closest to the Rockies is where you'll see the most snowfall. Now, for this next system, I'm going to zoom out to the entire continental United States, and let's look at this. We have that first system that's departing, and this is all one big system, but I would say the first part of this up here is moving out. That's the one that we just looked at, but look at what's happening in parts of Colorado. That's going to actually dip into parts of the southern plains. Here to be by Monday, again 1 a.m. On Monday, and we're looking at that snowfall moving through parts of Colorado, New Mexico, Kansas, even into parts of Oklahoma and northern Texas. Look at where that 32-degree line is. It's fairly far to the south. Here would be by Monday around 7 a.m., and you're actually seeing some dangerous icy precipitation moving through parts of Oklahoma and Texas. So if you live within that area, definitely make sure you are taking caution. And I'll definitely update you guys again on this system at least one more time over the next few days before the system actually occurs. Now, here would be by Monday the 26th, late at night, probably right around 7 p.m. Central Time. And we're looking at a thin area of extremely heavy snowfall moving through parts of Missouri, Illinois, Oklahoma, and Texas. And then you just see some scattered flurries behind that system. So I do think that you will see a little bit in the way of heavy snowfall move through these areas. It's exactly where that sets up, how cold it is. That's going to be the big issue, because if it sets up back here, of course, that changes the forecast. If it sets up right here, that again changes the forecast. So exactly where that happens, that's really going to be a hard one to pinpoint, and we're going to need to get closer to this event. This is close to 6 days out by the 6 or 7 days out by this point. Here would be by Tuesday 1 a.m. and we're looking at again quite a bit of icy precipitation moving through. That snow is now changing over to rain as the sun rises. Here would be by Tuesday, I would say right around 7 in the morning. This model even shows a little bit of snowfall, maybe even getting into Dallas, so that would definitely be very interesting in October snowfall for them. So definitely quite a lot in the way of snowfall. Here would be by Tuesday around 7 p.m. and we're looking at quite a bit of snowfall moving through. Well, actually not that much snowfall. It's really just going to be some scattered flurries on the back end of this front, and then it really moves a little bit further to the north, but not too much to deal with in terms of snowfall with that part of the storm. Mountain snow further out to the west in parts of the Rockies. This is from the 26th to the 29th, and this is our final storm that we're going to talk about. Under an inch and maybe a coating for all of these regions. Behind, or actually a little bit later on, you actually do get a little bit of snowfall for these regions, so that's why I included them in that coating area. 1 to 3 inches over parts of Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and then another small area through Texas and Oklahoma, and then one more small area for parts of Missouri and Illinois. And that small area for Missouri and Illinois is where you could really see a lot of fluctuation and change in the forecast. So definitely stay tuned, and I'll be updating you guys on my channel. So make sure you are subscribed. 3 to 6 inches of snowfall for parts of Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, where I'm expecting again 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. So I hope you guys did all enjoy all the maps that I put out for today's video. I worked really hard on that, and it took me about 2 hours to make all these maps because I made a total of about 4 different snowfall maps. I believe that might be a record on my channel for the most snowfall maps that I've made on one video, and that's just because there was so much going on in terms of these snowstorms. So definitely, if you did enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like, turning on notifications, and turning on, or actually subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.